pediatrics in general, we just say if you have a kid who is full age or going to daycare, expect about six upper respiratory infections a year. But this time of year is particularly prone to that happening. And so you have, I think we cannot stress enough how important it is for us to start to teach and model these behaviors for our kids.
Are there some ideas for
Mhm.
parents increasing immunity in their families?
Yes, so I will tell you, Dr. Diola, this is probably one area where traditional medicine has failed us and also failed physicians in training like myself when we were trained. And not to forget also that for moms who are exclusively breastfeeding, that you need to supplement vitamin D for give your babies vitamin D supplements as well, because breast milk tends not to have enough vitamin D, especially as you go past 2, 3, 4 months. Our kids need the activity, especially this time of year. I mean, even in the summertime, we have to like really make an effort to get a lot of kids out and off the couch and off playing video games and out playing. So it becomes even worse this time of year. First of all, deciding that I'm going to have a less stressful season. I am going to not overextend myself. I am going to rest as much as possible. I'm going to ask for help where I can.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wellness Keys and another conversation with one of our wonderful professionals. I have here with me today Dr. Emeka Obidi. I am so excited for this conversation. I can't wait to just share some of all the practical tips that he's going to give us. And just excited. Welcome, welcome.
Well, thank you, Dr. Chikumar. Thank you so much for having me on. It's such a pleasure. I know we've been trying to make this work for quite a while now, so I am glad we could finally make it work. I am excited to chat with you tonight.
Oh,
Well, it's
perfect.
night for me, so.
Well, it's still late afternoon, evening, but I mean, better late than never, right?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. This is a great time to have a conversation too around health and, just helping families through the holidays. So
I know I'm representing for the
you
holiday
are,
season.
you are. And I said this before we started recording. I forgot, to put something festive on, but this will have to work.
Oh no, you look just fine. And so
Thank
today
you.
we're going to be talking about winter health tips for kids. And of course, by proxy for the moms and the families too. So really excited to really jump in. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your practice, what you do.
Sure. So I'm a pediatrician. I've been practicing for donkey years now. I'm about 20 years in this practice. So out in Western Maryland, Hagerstown, Maryland, to be precise. And it's a family practice now. We see some adults as well, not myself personally, but we have some providers here who see adults as well. But yeah, I love pediatrics. It's my passion. And I also have a special passion as well for newborns. So I have also some education I do around newborns and new moms and just helping them get more comfortable taking care of their babies. So that's me.
I love that. I love that. Do you know, fun fact about me, I wanted to
Uh-huh.
have six children. That was
No,
I wanted to have
really?
six babies, one after the other. But it didn't quite work out. But I love children too. And that's
They're
so
adorable.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So wonderful.
I love it whenever I have a bunch of newborns on my schedule, which happens all the time. So I
Oh,
love it.
I love it. Okay. So let me ask you a question. Since
Hmm?
we are in the holiday season, what is
Yeah.
your favorite holiday childhood memory?
Oh boy. Wow. So I don't know. I think it probably was just the baking. My mom did a lot of baking around the holidays. I think that was probably one of the most favorite things I remember. Baking and there was just a lot of festivity. I mean, I grew up in Nigeria, so there was just a lot of festivity. It was that time of year where we all got to visit friends and friends came to visit and we all got new clothes to wear and it was fun.
Oh, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And it's funny you say that because I don't really remember getting extravagant toys or anything. It was really the new
Yeah.
clothes, the new
Yes.
shoes,
Yes.
the new, whatever was in vogue, something from my
Invoke.
hair.
Ah.
That and it was fun
It
because we
was
were
fun.
visiting and
Yes.
so even for me today, and the holiday season is so much more than the gifts under the tree. We
Mhm.
thank God for our Savior that we're
Yeah. Yeah.
celebrating. But I
Yeah.
love getting together. I love making something for people to eat, just people having
Yeah.
fun and just being hopeful, I think, for the
Yeah,
next.
there was a lot of that growing up. Now, one of my daughters loves to bake now, so that's fun because she loves to bake and try out new things, and we all love to eat
Oh,
it.
wonderful, wonderful one. Well, we're going to get into some of that and all the sweets that we eat
Sure.
in the holiday season. So I'll say, let's just jump in. Let's talk about
Mhm.
just winter,
Sure.
especially here in the northern hemisphere.
Hmm.
Um, I would say, it's pretty cold. You're seeing outbreaks of all kinds of things. Children are
Me
coming
too.
in, I'm sure, in your practice. So talk
Mhm.
to us a little bit about some of the top illnesses or ailments that you see.
Yeah.
Maybe, just some
Yeah,
things.
absolutely, absolutely. So you're right. This is the time of year where there are all kinds of viruses going around. A lot of kids end up being ill. And actually, in pediatrics in general, we just say if you have a kid who is school age or going to daycare, expect about six colds, colds a year, six upper respiratory infections a year. But this time of year is particularly prone to that happening. And so you have normally you will have just flu and RSV as the top ones. There's always the common respiratory virus, rhinovirus, that's just around, all year round, but also quite prevalent this time of year. But now we also have COVID in the mix as well, too. So it's been a really very active sort of respiratory illness season. And they all generally tend to have about the same sort of symptoms too that moms need to look out for. And I will say also this year in particular, we've also had an outbreak of mycoplasma, which is a bacteria, but sometimes presents like all the other viruses. It's the bacteria that's responsible for what is called atypical pneumonia, but in common sort of terminology, walking pneumonia, just because people aren't very sick, so they're sort of able to go about their business, but you have this lingering illness. So we could probably talk a little bit more about that as well and what people need to do.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that I'm sure some moms are listening and are like, wait, what? Walking pneumonia? What? So how do we prevent some of this?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it comes back to really just good health hygiene. Maybe we'll step back for a second and say, okay, what sort of symptoms do kids typically present with when they're having these viruses? So, they oftentimes will have nasal congestion and a runny nose. They may have a fever depending on the virus, and that may be mild or, a bit more significant. And so that's something else. They will all typically present with a cough as well. Most kids do well with these viruses. You just need to sort of provide supportive care. And within 1 to 2 weeks, they will get better. Now, if they do have a mycoplasma infection, that tends to sort of start to extend past 2 weeks, and so I would say if you have in general a kid who's getting very sick, they're having really high fevers, difficulty breathing, or the illness is not resolving within 2 weeks, you should really seek some medical care and make sure that someone, gets to examine them to see what's going on. And sometimes we can tell just from the examination or some testing what's going on. To get to your question about what to do, I think it's really just being good hand hygiene, which we, preach all the time. And so just making sure, and of course, sometimes when you have younger kids, that's a little bit more difficult because they just like to touch everything and everything goes in the mouth. And, but it's also a good time to teach them those habits as well. So remembering to have them wash their hands, wash for 20 seconds. You can do the ABC song, which I actually did a timer and did the ABC song. It is a great song, to really help you wash the hands long enough with nice soap and lather to make sure you're getting all the bacteria and then they're rinsing their hands, right? So that's something to do. You may consider wearing a mask if you're really going to be around a large crowd of people that you're not familiar with. Say you're going through a crowded airport this time of year. Not a bad idea to have a mask on if your kids are well or if they're sick, they really should be staying away from people. But if you do have to do go out, you should wear a mask to protect other people. I think those are the main things really in terms of prevention. It's just good hand washing, separating yourself if you're ill. Rest is big, even for us adults. I think when you are running on very little sleep, your body is just more prone to coming down. You're less like your immune system is compromised, basically. And so you do want to rest well yourself as a parent. That's sometimes hard to do, but you really want to rest well. And then model that for your children also, making sure that even though as we start to get into the holidays and kids are home, from school and going through the winter break, that it's not suddenly a license for them to be up all night. That you
Yes,
try and maintain as much as you can the same sleep time, and maybe for practical purposes it'll be a little later, but we shouldn't be going way late, way later than their normal bedtime. They should still get good night's sleep and they can always wake up early and still have fun, right?
I
But getting a good night's sleep, I think, is helpful as well for our health.
I love that, and I think that is so true. So a couple things. I think for the little ones, having them sing the ABCs or a timer, a happy birthday as they wash their hands is great. What about those children that are older? So I have teenagers now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I have seen them just do a quick,
A
just a quick,
quick yes.
and you're like, what? Excuse me. No, sir or ma'am. You have to go back, go wash your hands properly. So, kind of paying attention, mom.
Yes,
You got
that's
to pay
true.
attention to those
I
big
agree with
kids and
you.
sometimes adults too.
I was just about to say, even adults, we have to remember to do that
Yes,
as well, long enough, right?
and so
Um,
I also like to have hand sanitizer. It's not
yes,
the
absolutely.
equivalent of washing and lathering, as Dr. Emeka said, but just have it around, have little
Yes.
packets, have it in their backpacks,
Mhm.
so that at least if they think of it or in the car as well.
Yeah.
Hey guys, come on, let's just real quick.
Yeah.
And when you can get to water and soap, that's always the
Yeah,
best way.
absolutely. I know sometimes it's not practical to wash your hands, right? I mean, you just this time of year, lots of people are out in the stores shopping, right? But when you get back into the car, you can easily, use your hand sanitizer because you've been touching all kinds of surfaces, right? So I think I'm thinking through that as well. When you're going through high traffic areas, pausing to use a hand sanitizer, I think it's a good idea to sort of, decrease the burden of bacteria and viruses on your hands.
I love it. And I love what you said about wearing a mask if you feel you're in a space with people you're not familiar with. There's a lot of travel that's going on.
True.
And you even see the stewards or air
Mhm.
hostesses. I don't even know what
Yes.
the term is now, but you see them during this
Mhm.
time. They will just wear their mask and watch
Yes.
cough up and down the.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, they're exposed to all kinds of people all day long, right? So it's a wise thing to do in most of those cases.
Yes. And then I think the last thing, which is something we like to preach here, is there is always, or there should always be space for rest because that's how your body restores itself.
Yeah.
That's how your cells turn over. That's how your brain kind of cleans
Mhm.
itself up, getting ready for the day. And just as the children should be resting, moms and dads,
Yes.
families, we
Yes.
all have to rest and not run and run and run and be in this hurried state and
Mhm.
then at the end of the holiday, we're all sick at New Year
Yeah.
time.
Exhausted. And I
Yes.
think there's
So,
more. And to sorry, I didn't mean to talk about you, but
yes,
but
yes, yes.
but it really is a point to really hammer home because there's more and more research about the importance of sleep, and I think it's been sort of underrated for a while. And sometimes it's a status thing to say, oh, I only need like 3 hours of sleep, I only need 4 hours of sleep, right?
Yes.
But not anymore, honestly. The high functioning and you deal with a lot of professional women, right? And so those who are really at the top of their game are recognizing how much more they need sleep because you're able to make better decisions, you're able to make quicker decisions, you're able to, like you said, your body's better able to fight off infection and is just more fortified for the world it's in. So there's just so much that goes on, and for our kids, that's when they get to when memories, is consolidated, right? So all the things they've been learning during the day is that time of rest and sleep that it gets really, cemented into our memory banks, right? So they can recall that later on. So I think we do our kids a disservice, and this is something to really watch for with older kids. I try and discourage my parents all the time from having a TV in the room where the kids sleep. The kids should really learn to be able to sleep without screens. I know it's so difficult to do, but I think we can't we cannot stress enough how important it is for us to start to teach and model these behaviors for our kids. We are teenagers at a time where they really need that rest, right? And so if you, I mean, we've all done it as adults where you're on your phone and you can be there for hours, right? And you really want to sleep, your body's tired, but you really want to still watch whatever is on. Thankfully, that's not something that I do a whole lot of anymore, but it's easy for our teenagers to be on their phones for prolonged periods of time, even through the night. So I think just doing something, I mean, hey, if they're still under your roof, right? You still have the right to be able to program their phones to go up at a particular time or shut off the internet at a particular time, have
Yeah.
those phones checked in, especially for those young teenagers and certainly preteens, they should have their phones and devices taken from them.
Yes, sir.
Sorry if that offends anyone, but this is important for your kids. Take those devices. You're the one paying for it.
And you bring a good point. I like to think of it as the parent, you are the frontal lobe for your child because
Yeah,
their brains are
teaching for
still
them. That's true.
developing. They are still very susceptible, even though we all are, to some of the
Mhm.
tactics that these, social media or
Yes.
electronics,
Mhm.
are using to make us
Yeah.
addicted.
Yes.
But
Yes.
that's the point of view. And
Yes.
I don't think we highlight that fact enough. We need
Yeah.
to be the ones to say, no, 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 little
No.
one, you're in my house. And
Mhm.
maybe find ways to work with them. It doesn't have to be a
Absolutely.
battle.
Absolutely. I agree.
But
Yeah.
yes, I agree.
Yeah.
We need to take it away. No screens in the rooms, phones, tablets, anything that beeps, games, whatever.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Our kids also are really smart, right? And I think we're in an age where we're in the information age. There's not a lack of information that you can sort of watch with or present to your kids to make a case for decreased screen time. Yes, they may roll their eyes and they may say, yeah, whatever, but it's registering somewhere. And at least they realize there's a reason for it. I think we're also gone past some of the age of because I said so. I mean, you can say that, but you still really have to, I think, especially as your kids get older, even the younger ones, training them to see the reason for certain things, and of course, you still have the final say, but I think it does help kids get over the hurdle sometimes of going along with whatever the plan is when they know why.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are smarter, right, for sure, in this day and age.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about immunity. So,
Hmm.
here at the Wellness Keys, one of the things I like to help parents with is do everything that you can to build your immunity. Because a lot of the basis of illness is inflammation because something foreign has come into your body. And your
Hmm.
body always wants to return to a state of balance. And it's, fighting, it's bringing the T cells, B cells, everyone is,
Yeah.
and you want to make sure that your body has the ability to fight whatever comes its way the best way that it can.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
some of the ways that I like to share with people is with the foods that we eat, sometimes
Mhm.
supplementation, but I do think just eating foods that are really rich in antioxidants and
Yeah.
nutrients and are colorful are things that we should just do as much as possible, limiting
Yeah.
processed foods. So tell me, are there some ideas for parents
Mhm.
increasing immunity in their families?
Yes, so I will tell you, Dr. Diola, this is probably one area where traditional medicine has failed us. and also field physicians in training like myself when we were trained, because we didn't get a whole lot of training on nutrition and natural ways to be able to fight off infection and all those things. And it's just something that, in all honesty, we're playing catch up with. And I even have to remind myself oftentimes, like, to make sure that I'm getting enough berries, like have, blackberries and blueberries now in my fridge, and, just sort of trying to get natural antioxidants into our system. So you certainly have berries, you have the citrus fruits, those are good as well. Oranges, nuts. I love nuts, I'm a nut person. And again, within reason, right? And trying to do the ones that are either unsalted or, and even better still, raw where you can. But those are helpful. I think that if you find a good quality supplement, if you're really having a difficult time getting that into your kids, that can be helpful. It's something that I even have had to look for myself more recently, just to make sure I'm getting all the micronutrients that are helpful with building immunity. Yeah, you can certainly do your vitamin C's and your echinacea and things like that as well. But I think that there's certainly a lot more we could be doing with our foods.
Absolutely. You know, that you bring up a good point. So something that happens in wintertime, especially again in the northern hemisphere, is
Yeah.
we have decreased daylight hours. And
Hmm.
so less sun, less vitamin D production,
Yes.
especially in people with high melanin in their skin.
Yes.
So is there maybe a suggestion to for vitamin D supplements in
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
case?
I think that I honestly think that all kids should be on vitamin D, because we, even in the best of times in the summertime, I have so many kids who are vitamin D deficient when we do their blood work for those that we have to test. And then of course it becomes worse as we get into the winter months, from October onwards, you're really not getting that much sun in the right wavelength to be able to produce enough vitamin D. So certainly, I think all kids should be on vitamin D. At the very minimum, just getting baseline maintenance doses, which will be anywhere from your kid's age from 600 international units to 800. Many kids actually need much higher. You certainly need, I would say, talk to your physician or provider to sort of talk you through the right doses for you or your kids, depending on what that looks like. And not to forget also that for moms who are exclusively breastfeeding, which we, recommend and encourage where that's possible, that you need to supplement vitamin D for give your babies vitamin D supplements as well, because breast milk tends not to have enough vitamin D, especially as you go past 2, 3, 4 months. So that certainly will be something to do, and that dose is 400 international units, or one. Usually it's a drop or 1 ml once a day.
That's perfect. All right. That's great. We're getting our international units as guys. This is great.
Yep, yep, yep.
Oh, I've heard people say, and I probably lean towards this, that even when it's cold, don't
Mhm.
necessarily keep the children in the house. Let them go out,
Mm,
let them have fun, let them
yeah,
play, let them exercise.
yeah,
What do you think about that? Outdoor play
yeah.
in
I
winter
will
months.
I will say, I have a very mixed population here. And I even remember one Hispanic mom who wanted to give her child, like, just indoors, wanted me to write a sick note for a couple of weeks because it's really cold and she didn't want him to go out to play. I'm like, no, he needs to go play. He needs to go out and promise he's not gonna catch a cold because he went out to play in the cold. Like, our kids need the activity, especially this time of year. I mean, even in the summertime, we had to, like, really make an effort to get a lot of kids out and off the couch and off playing video games and out playing. So it becomes even worse this time of year.
Yeah.
So certainly being able to just get them out playing, especially if you're in an area where it snows. I know you probably don't want to go out and play snowball, snow fights, but go out, play with them or have them just build a snowman, just play around in the snow. They can come in and warm up later on and have a nice, warm drink or whatever, but they should really go out and play. Help them, my kids help me shovel the snow now. I'm like, hey, listen, I shoveled the snow for the last 17, 20, 21 years of your lives. You guys should be able to do
It's
that now.
time.
It's time. And that's exercise. But even before now, I will have them come out and you can have even your 4, 5, 6 year olds with their little shovel and they're not doing much, but it's activity for them and it's fun for them, especially at that age, right? And
Yes.
they'll play in the snow and throw it in the air and run around, but it's really great because they're getting activity, in for the day.
Absolutely. And we learned this. We had a conversation with a doctor of optometry recently.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the reason why the children should go outside, whether it's summer, winter,
Yeah.
whenever, is like you said, they're playing video games. So they have this,
Nice.
close up look,
Mhm.
all that
Yeah.
more so than the
Also,
far into the horizon.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
affecting their eyesight as
The
well.
ability to be
So
able to accommodate and focus. Yeah, I can imagine.
no, I
Mhm.
know. So in addition to just physical activity, keeping
Yeah,
them moving, their eyes
good for
will,
the eye health too.
yes, and then just the happiness, that just the oxytocin and the
Yes.
serotonin that they feel with that. And so what I did when my children were much younger and
Mhm.
we were in a snow-laden land, if you
Yeah.
will, is I would just let go build it out outside my window so I can watch
Something like not sure exactly.
I know. And then, this is something that I like too for moms who maybe it's a really cold day and you really, really don't want them to go out. Okay. Let them be active inside. Put on
Indoors.
the dance
Mhm.
playlist and let them dance
Yes.
inside. I mean, I dance inside my house as
Yes.
well, just for fun,
Absolutely. Your
right?
pillow fights.
Pillow fights, just move. Life does not have to be perfect and in order all the
Yes.
time. A fuller life sometimes is messy, and that's
Mhm.
fine. That is
Yeah.
fine.
And
So,
it could even be simple things like, okay, we're all gonna do jumping jacks during commercial time, right? If you guys are watching the program, right? During
yes,
commercial, you'll do jumping jacks, you can do push-ups, you can
push-ups,
lift your baby up.
whatever
Yes,
it
we
is.
all need
That's
to move. We all need
yes,
to move
we
some
do.
more.
No, that's wonderful. Okay, so just to this has been such a wonderful conversation. I'm so pleased. I've learned a lot. Now, talking about this season. So the holiday season, I mean, they keep accelerating. It was almost like right after Halloween,
Yeah.
it was Christmas, then New Year's,
Uh-huh.
and then we're done with the year. So there's a lot of stress. We talked
Hmm.
a little bit about some ways of, thinking of our nutrition, having snacks at hand. How else do you share with the families you work with about reducing stress during the holiday season, especially?
Yeah, that's such a big one. And I think it really starts by parents just deciding that they are going to prioritize their mental health and that they don't have to do all the things. We don't have to like have this elaborate big thing, especially where that's stressful. Now, some people may love to do lots of cooking and baking because they actually enjoy it, right? But where it's a chore and you're stressing out over what it's going to look like and stressing out over what someone is going to say, I think a lot of it, first of all, is just a decision. Like, I am going to have a less stressful holiday season, right? I am not going to overextend myself, right? You can start with those affirmations. You can start with, like we talked about, resting more, right? Involving people more, involving your kids more, with wrapping gifts and doing things. You don't have to be up all night wrapping all the gifts yourself, right? Yeah, you can wrap theirs, but, for other family members or different things you're doing, they can help with that as well. So getting more help. And I think it's really, like I said, just a decision, first of all, and recognizing your limits. trying to rest, trying to eat well. This is the time of year where it becomes more difficult to eat well because, there's all the sweets and things that we if we're not careful, we could overindulge in or get into. So, still prioritizing good nutrition at this time is helpful, even when you're making all those, baked goods and you're cooking. And there's always healthier options, right? So I tell my parents, even when you have to go out and go to dinner, there are always healthier options when you look at the menu. I mean, you can even go to McDonald's and look at the menu and there are healthier options,
Yes,
right? So I'm really just making sure that we're prioritizing good health, even at this time, good nutrition, even
yes,
at this time of year. It doesn't mean that it has to go out the window altogether. Yeah, so I think those are a couple of things I can think of. First of all, deciding that I'm going to have a less stressful season. I am going to not overextend myself. I am going to rest as much as possible. I'm going to ask for help where I can. I'm going to decide to have fun and enjoy the season, right? Because you can go through the whole season stressed, and at the end of the day, you didn't even enjoy it,
you
right? Where this
did.
could have been a time to enjoy family and friends and just rest.
I almost feel like we should record that and it's an affirmation, a mantra. I will decide not to have a stressful day.
Absolutely. It really, really starts there. I believe it starts there. I mean, I will tell you honestly, this year I decided I am not over decorating the house. Like, this is a simple decoration season,
Hey,
Christmas season. I have
yes.
so much going on. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna kill myself trying to do like we're just gonna make it nice and simple. You
Yeah.
know, we'll still celebrate the season, still enjoy each other's presents. And even if I didn't have all the lights up, we're still good.
It's okay. And I think sometimes too, there's ways to extract moments of quiet, moments of
Yes.
peace, moments of
Yeah.
restfulness out,
Mhm.
even when things are getting busy.
Yes.
Like for me, if I have a cup of tea in my hand, sometimes I don't
You're
hear. I don't
good.
hear you. I'm just with my tea and I'm like, huh? What are you?
What's going on
Whatever that is for
for
you,
you?
figure out
Yes.
what it is. If it's
Yeah.
taking some breaths, stepping away,
Yeah. Open a
having a
book,
bath,
right? Just go sit on a
opening a
nice,
book,
comfortable chair and read a book.
simple, whatever it is, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be, sometimes here is some of my, at least some of the concerns I hear from moms is everyone talks about self-care. I don't have time to go for
Mm.
hour-long massages and all kinds. It
Yes.
doesn't have to be
Doesn't
the
have
whole
to
day.
be.
No,
Yes.
take your little moments, and those moments can mean so much.
So much. Absolutely. Yes, self-care doesn't have to be absolutely. Actually, self-care does not equal, hour-long massage or even massage at all. It just
Thank
means
you.
caring for yourself, and everyone's different, and what that looks like for you is so different. That could just be even just drinking more water, right? You're caring for yourself, drinking more water,
Absolutely.
taking a walk, going out, especially and this time of year, some people do have seasonal affectional disorder. Well, there's just they're in a depressed mood, right? This time of year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just going out, getting some fresh air, walking, can do a lot for your mood, right?
Yes.
Getting on the phone with a friend that you enjoy their presence and, having a conversation. Now we have the gift of FaceTime where there's more of a connection there. Just those simple things are all self-care. Yes, absolutely
Wonderful.
important.
Thank you. So I think just to end our conversation, I've learned so much. First, we got to
Love
wash
that.
those hands. Wash those
Yes,
hands. The littles all the way to the big ones. Got to wash
absolutely.
those hands. We talked a little bit about some of the healthy meals and snacks to help with our immunity. We
Yes.
talked about the importance of, sending the children outside, movement and little
Yes.
activities that help us find mindful moments that care for our souls, even
Mhm.
when we don't have too much time. And I love your mantra, Dr. Emeka. I decide to have a peaceful holiday season.
Absolutely. It
I
starts
love
there. Absolutely
I
starts there.
love it. Anything else that I'm missing that you want to leave our viewers with?
I think you covered so much. I think that I just want to, there's probably some mom or dad who's just so stressing right now and just worrying about 1,001 different things, just knowing that you're enough, you are enough, you're enough just with how you are, and that you have all the resources that you need to be able to make it through the season and to really enjoy the season. Reach out. Don't, crawl under the blanket and hide somewhere. Reach out to a friend, reach out to your medical provider if you have to, if you're really, having a really difficult time. For some people, this is a difficult time, they've probably lost family members around this time of year and things like that. Reach out, right? Reach out and make sure that you're getting the help you need. We talked about self-care. Whatever that is for you, make sure you make time this season to have some beautiful self-care because you deserve it.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so, so much. This was a wonderful conversation. I appreciate you so much. And to everyone that's listening, we will see you guys next time for our next conversation. I hope you learned something. You got some tips and tricks that you can use as you navigate winter and the holiday season. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.